With the winters looming over Europe's head, the bloc hasn't helped itself by introducing a ban on Russian oil and petroleum products. That ban, which is set to come into force in December, will severely impact fuel prices in Europe. You see, the global oil supply is tight. Even more constrained is the world's diesel supply, and that is what Europe really needs. Europe will have to buy diesel at higher prices. That will spur inflation, which is already at record levels, and it will also annoy countries around the world. Amid an intense natural gas crunch and the associated energy price rise, Europe now needs to be ready for a diesel crunch, and the diesel which will be available, if at all, will be very expensive, which will fuel inflation. That's what the International Energy Agency has to say. According to the IEA, competition for diesel is set to increase in an exceptionally tight market due to EU sanctions on Russian oil. The Paris-based agency said, and I quote, "High diesel prices are fueling inflation, adding pressure on the global economy and world oil demand." That's not all. The IEA has more bad news. The agency said that once Europe's embargo on Russian oil kicks in, the world's oil, specifically diesel market, will further tighten. The IEA predicted, and I quote, "The competition for non-Russian diesel barrels will be fierce, with EU countries having to bid cargoes from the US, Middle East, and India away from their traditional buyers." That's an important statement coming from the IEA. US, Gulf nations, and India are major diesel exporters, especially if Russia is taken out of the equation. However, these countries supply diesel to a host of nations across the world and have so far not really been the primary suppliers for Europe. Soon, Europe will need to convince these suppliers to sell more and more diesel to it. That will put a strain on diesel supplies and will also mean that many underprivileged, poor, and developing countries will see their diesel supplies getting diverted to Europe. At the end of the day, European countries can pay more for each barrel of diesel than most developing and poor countries. As Europe gets ready to bid more for diesel cargoes, suppliers will look to maximize profits and therefore divert supplies to Europe. EU's ban on Russian oil imports takes effect in December, and that of Russian diesel will come in place in February. Diesel prices were 70% higher in October compared to the same period in 2021. That's not even the scariest part. The price differential compared to the price of crude oil skyrocketed by 425% compared to 2021. That means diesel is comparatively much more expensive and hard to get than crude oil right now. Do you think Europe will manage to secure diesel supplies for